This homemade traditional Italian pizza dough recipe is the only pizza recipe you will ever need. Make it by hand or in your stand mixer. No need for takeout, it will make your pizza night even more special. Any topping goes. Authentic Italian pizza never tasted so good. Everything you need to know to make this your family's new favorite pizza recipe. In your house, what day is pizza day? If you are like us, it could mean any day. Sometimes Friday or maybe even Saturday, but last week it was Sunday. Easy. The recipe can be made the same day or left to rise overnight in the fridge. The longer it is left to rise, the more delicious it is. Perfect either way. Make a typical pizza margherita or a popular pizza bianca. And of course, you can make your preferred thin or thick pizza crust. Versatile. The dough is perfect for making a traditional pizza, mini pizzas, or calzone. Some readers have even used it to make bread. The best? I can, and so can everyone that has tried it, say that it is the best pizza dough they have ever tried. Water. Always use lukewarm water. Make sure the temperature is between 98-105 F, 3640 C. Never use hot or you will kill the yeast, and with cold water, the yeast will take forever to rise. Yeast. I like to use active dry yeast, but you could also use instant yeast. For every teaspoon of active dry yeast, substitute with 3/4 teaspoon of instant sugar. It is considered food for the yeast, which converts it to carbon dioxide and alcohol. It also helps enhance the flavor of the pizza. Olive oil. It helps to tenderize the dough and add a wonderful flavor. Flour. I usually use all-purpose or bread flour. You will need a flour that has at least 12% protein. Bread flour will produce a chewier crust. Salt is necessary to add flavor to the dough. Needless to say, this pizza dough was one of those recipes that was passed down for, I can't tell you how many years. And trust me, it is the best pizza dough. You can make it thin crust or thick crust, whatever suits you, then you can top it with whatever fresh ingredients you want. In the bowl of your stand-up mixer, or a large bowl if you need by hand, add the water and sugar, sprinkle the yeast on top, let sit for 5-10 minutes, then stir with a wooden spoon or spatula to combine. Add the olive oil, flour, and salt with the hook attachment. Start to combine on low speed, scrape the hook, and then raise to medium speed and knead for approximately 5 minutes or until you have a smooth, elastic dough. Place the dough in a lightly oiled bowl, cover with plastic wrap and a large clean kitchen towel. Leave in a warm, draft-free place until doubled in bulk. Punch the dough down a few times and divide into 1-3 balls. Let the dough rest for 20 minutes. Place the dough in the desired pizza pan or baking sheets, lightly oiled, and shape the dough into the desired shapes, using your clean, lightly wet or oiled hands. Top with your favorite toppings, without the cheese. Bake for approximately 15-20 minutes until crust is golden, and then top with grated mozzarella cheese and bake for 2-3 more minutes or until the cheese is melted. This time I made 3 different types of pizza, all easy and all delicious. I started with my daughter's favorite, pizza margherita, to my favorite Italian sausage, and artichoke cheese pizzato, one of the Italians' grilled zucchini pizza. But if you want to try something different, why not give this potato pizza a try? In Italy, it is so easy to get a good pizza dough. Sometimes I would stop at my local bakery, Forno, and pick up a pound or 2 of dough. But when I tasted a pizza made with this dough, I thought no matter how good the bakery dough was, it was now a thing of the past for me. That pizza made me determined to make my own pizza dough from then on. When I tasted a pizza made with this dough, I thought no matter how good the bakery dough was, it was now a thing of the past for me. That pizza made me determined to make my own pizza dough from then on. Needless to say, this pizza dough was one of those recipes that was passed down for, I can't tell you how many years. And trust me, it is the best pizza dough. You can make it thin crust or thick crust, whatever suits you, then you can top it with whatever fresh ingredients you want. Both bread and pizza dough start with the same main ingredients of flour, water, salt, and yeast. The way you handle the dough is what will decide whether it becomes pizza or bread. They can both have the same ingredients, but the formula for making them is different. In other words, different amounts of salt, water, and oil. Although both doughs are often used interchangeably. It is thought that the Italian baker Raffaele Esposito from Naples was the first to make a pizza pie. Although it is also thought that street vendors in Naples would sell flatbreads with toppings for many years before Raphael. Apparently, the Italian king Umberto I and Queen Margherita visited Naples sometime in 1889. Esposito was asked to make a pizza for them. He proceeded to top the pizza with fresh tomatoes, mozzarella cheese, and basil. That pizza was named Pizza Margherita, and of course is still extremely popular today. Since there are very few ingredients in pizza dough, it is important that all the ingredients are good quality and active. To tell the truth, some people will swear by bread flour, but I always use all-purpose, 11% protein or higher. It's not necessarily the flour, but how you go about making the pizza that counts. Although if you prefer bread flour, then by all means use it. To start, make sure your yeast is active. In a small bowl, add the water. Make sure it is lukewarm. If it is too warm, it will kill the yeast. Then add a pinch of sugar to the water. Sprinkle the yeast over the top, stir to combine, then let it rest for about 5 minutes. If the yeast is active, it will dissolve in the water, and the mixture will bubble. If you like to give your dough a bit of extra flavor, then you can certainly add a couple of dashes of garlic or onion powder, or even oregano, thyme, Italian seasoning, or basil. Or if the Italian had is weigh a couple of good pinches of hot pepper flakes. Whisk them into the flour before adding to the yeast mixture. With this pizza dough recipe, I made 2 large and 1 small pizza. Sometimes I will make an all-veggie one with fresh halved cherry tomatoes, peppers, mushrooms, and onions. Or I will saute a couple of Italian sausage, casing removed, with sliced mushrooms, peppers, and a small onion, and place the mixture on a pureed tomato sauce, with just a few spices and a little olive oil. For the third pizza, I top with chopped fresh tomatoes and sliced black olives, and of course all the pizzas are topped with shredded firm mozzarella after they were baked. When making homemade pizza dough, be sure to knead the dough until it is smooth and elastic. Let it rise in a lightly oiled bowl. Make sure to turn the dough in the bowl so it gets covered lightly in oil. Cover the bowl with plastic wrap and a clean, large kitchen cloth. Place the bowl in a warm, draft-free area and let it rise for about 2 hours. Always use olive oil. Once the dough has risen, divide it into 3 rounds. Make sure to cover the rounds with the kitchen cloth and let it rest for about 20-30 minutes. This way, your dough will spread and not spring back when you try to fit it into the pan. No need to roll the dough with a rolling pin. Clean hands work best. Lightly oil the pizza pan or baking sheet with a little before adding the dough. No need for parchment paper. Always place it in a lightly oiled bowl and roll the dough to lightly cover it with oil first. The oil keeps from forming a crusty top on the dough and keeps it smooth and soft. Be sure to knead the dough until it is smooth and elastic, approximately 7 minutes by hand and 5 minutes by machine. The dough can be kneaded by hand or by machine using the dough hook in your stand-up mixer. Do not over-knead. It's also best to stretch the dough gently with your fingertips rather than using a rolling pin. The air bubbles in the dough cause the crust to be light and airy, and that is exactly what you want. When you punch the dough down, you are removing some of the gas bubbles that has been formed by the yeast while it was rising, which will produce a finer grain. This also helps to relax the gluten, which makes the dough easier to shape. The dough can certainly be done in the fridge. Overnight works perfectly. Prepare the dough, place in a lightly greased bowl, cover with plastic wrap, and let rise overnight in the refrigerator, leaving the dough to rise in the fridge from 12-24 hours is considered the best amount of time. Although the dough can remain in the fridge for up to 3-4 days. If the dough smells sour, it has probably gone bad and should be discarded. Remove the dough from the fridge and bring it to room temperature. About 30-60 minutes, punch it down, then divide it into 2 or 3 parts. Again, let it rest for about 20 minutes, form into your preferred shape, and top as desired. With your knuckles or a couple of fingers, make an indentation in the dough. If the indentation disappears, the dough needs more time to rise. If the dent remains, the bread is ready to bake. It doesn't need to rise twice, and this recipe is delicious with just a first rise. But if you are looking for something amazing, do as a lot of Italian pizza places do and let the first rise happen in the fridge overnight. Bring the dough to room temperature 30-45 minutes, then punch it down and let rise a second time for about 1 hour. Some of my favorites are sliced Italian sausage, pepperoni slices, sliced or chopped peppers, sliced mushrooms, pancetta or bacon. Broccoli, arugula, wurstel, and fries are, believe it or not, favorites in Italy. So if you like pineapple, then why not add it too? Or why not change up your cheese topping instead of just mozzarella? Add some blue cheese, fontina, or provolone, or one of my favorites, Parmesan cheese. Freshly grated, of course. Besides making a regular pizza dough, I love to make a homemade calzone, or my grandmother's calzone, or why not some mini pizzas? One of my favorite meals is a pizza-topped hamburger pie. I am sure you must have some of your own ideas. Place the pizza stone in the cold oven. Preheat the oven to 450, 475 F. Once the oven is preheated, the stone will be hot enough. Slide the pizza onto the stone using a pizza peel and continue with the recipe. Once the pizza stone has cooled, brush it but don't wash it. How to bake the best pizza should always be baked in a very hot oven, 450 F, 250 C. It's best to top your pizza, let it cook, then add the shredded mozzarella cheese and bake until melted. What weight should the pizza dough weigh? If you're looking for a pizza, such as pizza napolitana, then I would go with 255 gram, 9 ounces dough ball if you want a thicker crust, then 285 grams, 10 ounces, would be the weight. This if for a pizza approximately 28 to 32 centimeters, 12 inches. Let the dough rise before freezing, then divide the dough into your desired pizza portions, place in airtight freezer bags, and freeze. Dough will last up to 3 months in the freezer. Thaw the frozen dough overnight, 8 hours in the refrigerator. When ready to use, remove it from the fridge and bring it to room temperature, approximately 30. 60 minutes on the counter will do. Continue with the recipe from step 4, or remove the frozen dough from the bag or container, then place it in a bowl with enough room to allow it to expand. Cover it with plastic wrap. Let it sit for a couple of hours, giving it time to thaw and rise. Then it is ready to use. Any leftover pizza, as long as it hasn't been left out for more than 2 hours, should be placed in an airtight container or wrapped well in plastic wrap or foil and placed in the refrigerator. It will last up to 4 days in the fridge. Cold pizza for breakfast, anyone? So however you like your pizza, thick crust, thin crust, double cheese, vegetarian or with pepperoni. I hope you make it with this pizza dough recipe. Buon appetito! 2 cups lukewarm water, 1 pinch sugar, 1/2 tablespoons active dry yeast, 2 tablespoons olive oil, 5 1/4 cups all-purpose flour or bread flour, 1/2 teaspoons salt. In the bowl of your stand-up mixer, or a large bowl if you need by hand, add the warm water and sugar, sprinkle the yeast on top, let sit for 5-10 minutes, then stir to combine. Continue with machine or hand. Add the olive oil, flour, and salt with the hook attachment. Start to combine on low speed #1. Scrape the hook and then raise to medium speed #2 and knead for approximately 5-7 minutes or until you have a smooth elastic dough. Scrape the hook halfway through kneading. Add the olive oil, flour, and salt, then with a fork mix until the dough starts to come together. On a lightly floured surface, remove dough from the bowl and knead until dough is smooth and elastic approximately 10 minutes. If dough is really sticky, add a little extra flour. Place in a lightly oiled bowl. Roll the dough to cover lightly with the oil. Cover the bowl with plastic wrap and a large clean kitchen towel. Leave in a warm draft-free area until doubled in bulk, approximately 2 hours. Preheat oven to 450 degree, 250 degrees Celsius. Punch dough down a few times and divide into 1-3 balls. Let dough rest for 20 minutes. Place the dough in the desired pizza or cookie sheets, lightly oiled, and shape the dough into the desired shapes, using your clean hands. Top with your favorite toppings without the cheese, bake for approximately 15-20 minutes until crust is golden, and then top with grated mozzarella cheese and bake for 3 more minutes, or until cheese is melted. Enjoy! Asterisk, asterisk. At this point, dough can also be refrigerated, place in plastic bag, remove air and tie securely, up to 24 hours. In a medium bowl, add a can of diced or pureed tomatoes, add 1 teaspoon oregano, 1 teaspoon basil, a sprinkle of salt, tablespoon or 2 of olive oil, and stir to combine. Top pizza dough. Chop fresh tomatoes, 15, 20 grape or cherry or 3-4 Roma tomatoes. If you use Roma tomatoes, then remove the seeds. Toss with 1 teaspoon oregano, 1 teaspoon basil, or even 5-6 fresh basil leaves chopped, 1-2 pinches salt, and a tablespoon or 2 of olive oil. In a medium frying pan, add Italian sausage, casing removed and chopped, and fry until starting to brown. Add thinly sliced onion, pepper, and mushrooms, and a drizzle of olive oil. 1-2 teaspoon oregano, basil, salt, and pepper to taste. Cook on medium for approximately 10 minutes. Use as topping for pizza, on the sauce, and then bake. If using instant yeast instead of active dry, use 3 teaspoons of instant yeast. In the bowl of the mixer, add the flour, yeast, and sugar and combine, then add the water and oil. Start to mix with the dough hook and add the salt. Continue to knead for about 8, 10, and continue with the recipe. Depending on the type of flour you use, flours absorb water differently. Therefore, in order to reach a compact dough, more flour may be needed. When using active dry yeast, your dough may rise a little quicker, so keep your eye on it. If you have a fan-assisted oven, then you can lower the oven temperature by 50 degrees F or 20 degrees C. Calories: 265 kcal vertical bar. Carbohydrates: 50 g vertical bar protein, 7 g vertical bar. Fat: 3 g vertical bar sodium, 1048 mg vertical bar potassium, 75 mg vertical bar. Fiber: 1 g vertical bar calcium, 10 mg vertical bar. Iron: 3 mg. Please leave a comment below or pin it to your Pinterest account. Republished from January 6, 2016.